And I'm curious what you guys think, and obviously you can't tell me right now via video, but maybe you can tell me via the blogging. How do you guys feel about changing the individual may cause a change in the family, or it might cause the family members to have to change for the individual? So for example, let's say alcoholism is the problem of the day, and what that means is alcohol can no longer be in the house in order to help your sister. How do you guys feel about that? How do you feel about, like, well, hey, I don't really have a problem with alcohol, and I don't mind having a glass of wine every now and then, but now I can't, because I can't have alcohol in the house because of my sister. This would be a classic example of how some sort of conflicts might arise, how one person's presenting problem might affect other individuals, and how it's not always so easy as saying, like, okay, yeah, I'll do whatever I want for that individual. How their problem might affect your lives as well. Oftentimes there's a premise of keeping the problem within the family. And we talk about that because, as you know, some cultures and some individuals are just a little bit more apprehensive about going to a therapist to even explain the issues. Sometimes these things are only talked about within the family circle or the family dinner table, and it's hard to kind of get advice and seek out somebody else. So we talk about that, and we bring in the family then, okay? And say, all right, if it's only within the family, well then let's bring them in and let's all talk about it together. You can work on an individual, but you're also working on the family as a whole, and the influence of the family on that individual. It's operating under the premise that the family unit has more power to create change than the therapist. If you think about it, it kind of makes sense. These are the people that you see all the time. These are the people that you care about all the time. These are the people that you wake up next to. Your family has the ability to help support you if you're the one with the presenting problem. They have more power than some random therapist that you go to see once a week or once every 2 weeks or whatever it is. So we're trying to, utilize the supports of the family so that they can help make changes within the individual. We have these meta frameworks, which are basically blueprints for therapy. There's many different kinds. The Adlerian family therapy, for example, uses something called family constellations as a way to kind of map out what the family looks at. We look at birth order. We look at how families get locked into patterns. There's a multi-generational family therapy where we challenge past cultures. We look at the differentiation of the self within the family, how things change, obviously, across generations. We look at the human validation process model, ways to kind of validate an individual and who they are to help with their self-esteem. There's other ones that, again, all focus around the family, all slightly different perspectives on how to kind of tackle this issue within the family. Just know that in general, we're talking about the family from a number of different angles. And what we're really trying to do, again, is reorganize these dysfunctional parts. Something might have been broken or out of whack or not helpful for some period of time, and we're trying to clarify how we can correct the matter. And we do this through the concept of lenses. I'm going to talk about lenses in a little bit. Let's just talk about real quick some of the characteristics of family systems therapy. It's action-oriented. Oftentimes it's short-term, and you can imagine why it would be short-term. It might be really difficult to get 10 people in a room. So it is kind of meant to kind of assign roles for the family and then kind of let people work on these issues within the family, within the home. The therapy is really meant to kind of be used as kind of like a booster to kind of get things rolling back at home. We're solution focused. Once again, that means focusing on solutions, not the problem. We can discuss the problem to kind of highlight what the issue is, but we're not going to go over and over again. Well, you did this and you did that, and for years and years and years and years, you can go back and tell stories until the cows come home. But the reality is we need to be solution focused. We need to talk about ways to fix the issue. We do all this within the here and the now. We work with families how to observe the individual and how they act within the system, the family system. We talk about who participates in maintaining the status quo. These are the kind of like the people that are silently supporting this problem. We talk about how the system, how the family is affecting the individual, and what kind of interventions can lead to change. As a counselor, we're trying to help people gain an awareness of their family, of the unconscious things that they feed into, and how they're affecting the individuals of the family. And we also need to monitor our own values and make sure that we're not telling them what they should do or shouldn't do. We need to understand that every family system is unique, that it has its own set of norms and rules and roles, and we need to kind of respect that and see if we can work out some solutions within that own unique culture that is a family. In order to change the problem, what we're probably going to have to change is we're going to have to change relationships. We're going to have to change the way that we deal with one another within the family system. We need to be flexible and use some of these multi-lenses, which we'll talk about as strategies. And what I think is very interesting is oftentimes this is not about what is in the best interest of the individual of this family. This is what is in the best interest of the family. So oftentimes a lot of the decisions that are made, the changes that are going to take place, the actions that are going to be done will be for the benefit of the family, not necessarily for the individual. Hopefully there's room for benefit for the individual as well, but it's always with keeping the family in mind. In these situations, neither the family nor the individual is blamed for anything. And I don't know how you guys feel about that. I mean, something like alcoholism, which affects the whole family. You might want to point blame to the person who's the actual alcoholic. But this system, this family systems therapy, does not point fingers and point blame. It's really about just kind of understanding how things came to be and what we can do to, again, find solutions for it. Because you know, the worst thing you could imagine would be bringing 10 people in and everyone pointing a finger at that one person saying, you did this, you're the one to blame, blah, 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 you're the problem. I mean, that's not really going to help anything. We're trying to empower the family so that they can explore new ways of relating, so they can help fix these issues. There are other kind of systems that also affect this system. There are systems that affect this family. Socioeconomic statuses, culture, you know, what nation you're from, laws, illness, all these kind of other factors can also affect the family system. So sometimes there's systems within systems, and we talk about that kind of, and you know, bringing awareness to how those things affect the family as well. We recognize that changes need to occur collaboratively with the help of individuals on a lot of different levels. Again, the present is more important than the past. We're not trying to dig up years and years of dirt. We use a lot of times enactments or assignments in order to kind of help people change. By assignments, I mean homework assignments. You know, hey, this week at home, try to do the X, Y, and Z. And you, brother or sister or mother or father, in supporting this, you need to do X, Y, and Z, those kind of assignments. What else can I say? Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about the lenses. There's the individual lens, the internal lens that has the individual and their parts. There's some positives there, there's some negatives there. There's the teleological lens. Excuse me one second.